watching. I'm powphenom, back at the Phenomenal Garage, and today we are back with a new build, and I'm super stoked to show you guys this one. For those that have been watching my videos for a long time or have seen some of my older videos, you might have seen this bike in the background of some of them. But as you can tell by the title, this is going to be my new project. I'm super stoked to bring you guys along with it. So this is my 1972 Honda CB750. This was originally my grandfather's bike. This bike has been neglected since the late 80s, pretty much. It was a gift to my dad, actually, and my dad never rode it. It sat in a shed for a decade or so, and never did anything with it. Just sat and sat more, and now it's mine. And this has honestly been a project that's been neglected of mine for many years, because this bike has been in our possession for a very long time. But I'm just tired of it sitting and not doing anything. I've had all sorts of different projects over time, and they've always kind of gotten in the way of me not working on this and focusing on this bike. But since I have no other projects right now, all my other stuff has been sold, I want to focus on getting this bike running so I can ride it around, get it ready for spring. So just doing a quick once over on the bike, I'm sure a lot of you guys noticed that this thing is not in the best shape. As I said, it has been sitting for a very long time. It hasn't ran, from my knowledge, since the early 90s. I think 1992 was the last time this bike actually ran. So it's been sitting for a long time and just neglected. The last time I actually worked on this bike and did some stuff to it seriously was about 5-6 years ago. So really, like I said, this project has been really neglected, and it's just sat in the corner of my garage, and I'm tired of it sitting, and I want to get this thing up and going. You probably noticed that the carburetors are gone off of this bike, and I do have the carburetors. I pulled them off about I'd say 6 or 7 months ago, and I was planning on sending them out to get them gone through and rebuilt, which I still am working on. I don't have a place here where I can sit down and just take them apart, go through the carburetors, because I'll have to pull the carburetors out to show you guys. But those who have worked on these bikes before, they know the carburetors are quite intricate. It's basically 4 of them in one. It's kind of hard to describe, but they're very interesting. And I want them to be ultrasonic cleaned and gone through properly so I can put them back on the bike. But today, there's still a couple of things I want to check, because like I said, it's been so long since I've actually messed around with this bike. I want to hook a battery up to it, see what works and what doesn't work. I'd like to see if there's any fluids in this thing. I'm not too sure if there are. I checked the oil earlier, which is this, and I mean, it's reading bone dry. So I mean, I'm kind of hoping that isn't the case, or isn't going to be the case, that this thing is just bone dry. I'm going to pull the drain plug just in case and see, and if there is none, I'm going to put some oil in this thing, pull the spark plugs out, because I haven't pulled those in like I said, 7 years or so. So I have no idea what they look like. I don't even remember what it was like. Besides that, yeah, this bike is pretty much as is complete. It's very original. I do have some other parts sitting around for this. I do have like another gas tank and some covers. I have the air box and a couple other miscellaneous parts and pieces. I have keys in there, so I never lost those. But yeah, this bike, like I said, it just needs a lot before it's obviously ready to be ridden. The tires on it are from the 80s and 90s. They're just dry rot all the hell. They don't hold any air. Same with the back. The front brake is just, there's nothing. So I don't know if I have to bleed them, if the master cylinder's no good, or if the caliper's no good. I haven't gotten around to that yet. The rear brakes, from my knowledge, they're mechanical drums, and they do work. Not too sure how well, but they do work. The gears work and stuff like that. Like, I put it in neutral. I had it in gear sitting up against the wall. So that all works and stuff. And yeah, I guess it's just really been a long time since I've messed around with this bike. I do have the old plate for it that's from 1987, but that's in storage right now. Kind of pointless for this bike as well. But yeah, that's enough chit chat. I am going to see if there's any liquid in this thing. This bike is actually a dry sump system. You have a oil tank here, oil line down there, which runs into the bottom end of the bike. So we have a drain plug on the oil tank itself, and there's a drain plug right there underneath the motor. So I'm gonna undo the one in the oil tank first, then I'm gonna undo the one in the engine. I don't think there's anything in this oil tank because I looked in there with a flashlight and it just looks bone dry. So yeah, I don't think we're gonna get anything out of there. Okay, so we're lined up here. I'm gonna pull this drain plug out here and see if we get anything out of this oil tank. Oh boy. Yes, we do. We got oil out of this oil tank, and it don't look too good. It's actually making a huge mess all over the bike, so that kind of sucks. So this is what I was talking about. It is making an absolute mess here. It's pretty much draining right onto this like return spring here for the brake lever, and it's running all down the frame and into my little drain pan. It's not doing it in very clean fashion, but yeah, we're gonna wait for that to drain. I'm gonna put that plug in, then we're gonna undo the main one. See what that looks like. Okay, here's our drain plug. We're gonna see what sort of goodies are gonna come out of you. Here we go. There it is. We're gonna inspect the contents real quick before we go any further. The oil is done draining. I'm gonna put the plug back in now. Had to go out to the store real quick, got some oil for it. Doing some quick research. This bike takes 3.5 quarts. I just pulled the seat off real quick just so I wasn't getting any of the remnants of the seat here down the oil tank, because I guess I'd hate to have any of that in there. But yep, we're done draining down there, so I'm gonna pull that tank out. The oil did end up looking good, so I'm comfortable with putting fresh oil in this motor. And the next step will be pulling the spark plugs out, checking those conditions of those spark plugs, getting the motor to spin over, or at least spinning the motor over by hand, and getting some lube down those cylinders, because they've been dry since, since 7 years ago. So yeah, that'll be the next step of this. So typically I usually run Pennzoil in all my stuff, but the store did not have 20 weight 50 Pennzoil, so I had to go with the Lucas oil, which I actually have run in some of my go-karts. So this is still good stuff. All right, so we just got the oil change complete on the CB750 today. I'd like to continue in the garage, but it is absolutely freezing in here and I'd like to go inside. So tomorrow the game plan is we're gonna pull the spark plugs out, lubricate the cylinders, get this engine start turning over, all that fun stuff, getting it a step closer to running. Can't wait, I'm super stoked to bring you guys along with this build, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Okay, so we are back 2 days later. Not like I had said in the last clip you guys just saw. I ended up getting a little bit sick, so I didn't work on it. Ended up just resting that day, but just got back from work. Still in that motivational, turn some wrenches kind of mood per se. So I'm gonna try and get some more work done on this today. And it's also not absolutely freezing in here, so it's doable. I hate working in the cold, just like most mechanics. Working in the cold's no fun, but when you got a nice garage that's somewhat climate controlled, it makes it a whole lot doable. But last time I left off, I had completed an oil change on this, and we may have a little problem with that. I'm gonna explain that in a second. But today I wanna pull the spark plugs out and start turning over this engine, get some lubrication down those cylinders, because like I said, they've been dry for the last probably 7 years or so. I can't remember the last time I actually worked on this bike like this. But yeah, so that's what I want to accomplish today. But let me explain what happened with the whole oil change ordeal. I did some research on this engine, and my research came back and said this took about 3.5 quarts of oil. So I was like, okay, so I'll go out and get 4 quarts and put 3.5 quarts of oil in this engine. And let me pull this seat off real quick, because like I said, I'm not going to pull it off because like this is just like, that's no good. Like, look at that. If this cap were off, that would be down in the oil tank right now, and I can't have any of that getting in there. So let me pull this seat off real quick, and I'll explain what happened in a second. Okay, so I just checked the oil, and you can tell, so well, the camera won't focus, but you can see the fill line there, and how much is actually in that tank. Now, I haven't actually turned over this engine and spun it over, so I'm sure obviously it's going to cycle more oil through, the top end and stuff, through the oil lines, all that stuff. And so hopefully that level goes down to what it's supposed to be, because it is exactly 3.5 quarts of oil that I put in this. But yeah, you can't really go off of this until you actually start these things. So I'm gonna leave it alone as is. If by the time I get this engine actually running, if it will run, which I don't see why it shouldn't, if we have to drain a little bit out, that's no worries. Okay, so I just ran into another roadblock today. So I got ready to pull one of the spark plugs out and none of my sockets fit. And the sockets I do have that fit are at the shop I work at right now, which sucks. So what I'm probably gonna end up doing is just bringing a bunch of my tools home, because honestly at that shop I rarely use my own tools anyway because we have shop tools. So yeah, I'm gonna have to hold off on that till tomorrow to pull the spark plugs out. But what I do want to accomplish today is hooking a battery up to this, because I do have a battery that I believe will fit in this bike. Okay, so I just pulled the old battery out that was in here that I had put in like 7 years ago. Obviously it was completely garbage. I don't know how confident I'm feeling about the whole wiring ordeal on this bike, because I mean, well, we got stuff that's running to God knows what. It's not hooked up. Got wires hanging back here, and some of this stuff back here looks pretty crusty. Mainly like stuff like this and this. I mean, like, I'm pretty sure this is the rear tail light assembly and blinker assembly lights and stuff, and like, they're not hooked up to anything. So yeah, the main ground, that's the main ground. It doesn't look too good. It's pretty crusty. I may pull that off, you know, clean that up with a wire brush or something. But yeah, the whole wiring ordeal on this doesn't look the best. I've got this battery here that I'm gonna throw in here, charging real quick, because that battery's good. That came out of my go-kart starter. This is the old one here. That's junk. I'm gonna crash out here in a second. We have more issues, even though I just said hopefully we don't have any issues. We have issues. Let me explain. We'll get ready to install the battery here. And first problem is this battery's too big for this box. It doesn't fit at all. Like it's halfway down, and you know, that's not gonna work, obviously. Second thing is, this is actually just the wrong battery for this in general. Not including size-wise, but the way the terminals are facing. So the terminals for this setup as is, the battery's supposed to be facing this way, like this. Here's our ground here, negative, and our positive is this little short guy right here. And obviously, even if this were to fit, that is not going to reach the positive over here, and neither is our ground wire here. So I pretty much have to get a whole like new battery for this bike, which kind of sucks. Not really what I was looking to do right now at this moment, because I'm not really in a rush to get this thing going. So I may hold off on that for a while, but that's gonna suck, because it means obviously I'm not gonna be able to have power to this bike, and I'm not gonna be able to check spark on it without a battery in it. So that kind of puts me on hold here for a bit until I get a battery for this. All right, we are back working on the CB750, but right now I would like to pull these spark plugs out finally, which I intended on doing in the beginning of this video, which was like 4 months ago. But at the time I just didn't have the tools to do it, or at least not the tools here, but now I do, so I can get that done. Because next I want to be able to get a battery thrown in this thing so I can turn it over and, you know, see if we have spark and things like that, see what works and what doesn't work. But before we go ahead and start spinning this engine over, you know, these old cylinders, they haven't had lubricant in years, so I think they're due for some lubricant before we go ahead and try and spin this engine over at all. Okay, so I'm getting ready to pull these plugs out. I've already got cylinder 1 loose here. I just popped it loose real quick with my ratchet. It's just an 18 mil for all 4. And got some WD-40 here just to lubricate the cylinder walls. And I'm gonna likely take a picture of 1 and 4, because I won't be able to put my camera in there, just to see what the inside of the cylinders look like. I can take a look at the top of the piston and try and look at the cylinder walls, see what condition they're in, and all that stuff. And yeah, pretty much go from there. Like I said, I've already popped this one loose, just because it's the easiest one to get to. Okay, so the spark plug is brand new. And when I mean brand new, it is like brand new, brand new. All right, so I just went ahead and lubricated all 4 cylinders and put all the spark plugs back in. And what I likely end up doing for the spark test is I'll pull the easiest one to get out, which is number 4. It turns out to be number 4, not number 1. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. they're labeled, so I didn't have to even label that like I did, whatever. But yeah, what I'll likely end up doing is just pulling this one out. And once I get a battery hooked in here, I'll plug it into each individual coil and see if they all work. That way I know that all these, this coil up here is working. Hopefully it does. I mean, it's sure it's dusty and dirty, but I mean, I have hope that it works. Some of the wiring isn't looking the greatest in some spots, which is, again, why I need to hook up a battery to see what works and what doesn't. But yeah, that will be in next video when I get the battery for this. Well, anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. This was a long to make video for me just because of how spread out it was over the months. But anyway, stick around because we're going to get this thing fired up for the first time in 30 years, which is awesome. It's going to bring this old beast back to life and hopefully one day get it back on the road where it belongs. Make sure you leave a like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications so you can stay up to tune on this project. You're not going to want to miss a thing on it. All right. I hope you guys have a phenomenal day, and I'll see you in the next one.